You're listening to the Rich Dad Cryptoverse podcast, where the force of financial education merges with the power of cryptocurrency. Here's your host, Robb LeCount.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's been a pretty interesting week. Jim and I are back to talk to you guys about all things sort of crypto, Metaverse, NFT. So, Jim, hey, did you check out the Crypto Bowl?
I did, Rob, and it was quite interesting. First of all, it was a great game.
Yeah.
It came down to the end, which is all you could ask for in a Super Bowl. But how could we not talk about some of those ads?
Oh my God.
How about the Coinbase one?
That was incredible.
That was incredible. And some people didn't like it at first. And I thought it was brilliant.
Me too.
To have people do that. And I love that. I mean, if you didn't know, if you're listening to us, you don't know, it was reminiscent of the iconic bouncing DVD logo.
Yes.
Meme. And how about it caused the app to crash?
That is insane.
Totally insane. But my favorite commercial, I love that one, but that Larry David FTX one, I thought was great too. I know they've been trying to get him to do an ad. He plays like himself, a disagreeable skeptic traveling through time, right? And scoffs at all the different inventions, the wheel and, forks, a toilet, light bulb, whatever. And I just thought that was really cute. And overall, I just love the fact that they brought a lot of attention to the crypto space.
Yeah, me too.
Right. On one of the biggest platforms, one of the biggest stages that you'll have, during the year. We talked last week, we delved into how much money it cost
for a
30-second advertisement. So it was great all around, man. So looking forward to the commercials, and I was not let down.
Me too. I thought it was great because I remember back in the day when people used to sit around and watch to see if that bouncing DVD logo would ever hit the corner, right?
Yeah.
I just thought it was great. I was with probably 20 people and they all brought it up and went to so I know why it crashed. I mean,
people run into the TV, getting their phones out. I'm like, you knew, I don't know about you, but I pretty much was expecting this has to be a crypto related.
Yeah. 100%. It was so cool. Not to say anything, lowest production cost ever. It was probably my favorite Super Bowl. Great halftime show, great game, great ads. So overall it was really good.
Hey, remind me, we should get back to that. What you just said, you alluded to the halftime show and some of the entertainers that are there. And, Eminem, he bought a very expensive NFT not too long ago.
Yes, he did.
And then you have Snoop Dogg, who has this own area that I would like to show people a little bit later on in the sandbox. So really interesting. And some of that sandbox related theme or that mansion that he had there. And I said, man, that is absolutely tethered to the metaverse.
Yes. Back to the metaverse, huh?
Yeah.
I like it. And now you had sent me an article about, I think it was JP Morgan. Let's just feather into the metaverse discussion. We're sort of going to continue on from last week. If you listened to last week, great. If you didn't, there's going to be tons of great information in this one as well. So just keep listening. Let's delve back into the metaverse. And JP Morgan, they're like one of the oldest financial institutions. They're in the metaverse.
Yeah, man, they're the largest bank in the United States. And I love the fact that they've become the first lender to arrive in the metaverse. And they're opening up a lounge in Decentraland, which is an epic metaverse, play. And we could talk about that in the future. I don't know if we'll get too deep into that today, but it's a virtual world, kind of like a social hub. And it's based on blockchain technology, something that we have been talking about the past few weeks. That's what this show is all about, and bringing attention to that. So as well as unveiling the Onyx Lounge, and the name kind of refers to the bank's suite of permissioned Ethereum-based services. And if you don't know what Ethereum is, that is a blockchain. And most people know Bitcoin and then Ethereum. Yeah. So it's a big deal. And it's really, in essence, it's Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO. And I know he hasn't been a huge fan of Bitcoin, a lot of the comments in cryptocurrency in general, but it's nice to see the largest bank in the United States getting on board with stuff like this. It's a long-term bet. And given, you've seen recently a big loss even for, Zuckerberg and, Meta's Web3 division. They saw their, a lot of these metaverse related stocks, they tumbled really earlier this month. And I just want to say to people, again, this is super early and progress isn't always pretty. So it's going to take time, just like when you looked at Web 1.0, when the internet first came out with Amazon and Google, they were down like at some point, like 90%.
Yeah.
So it takes a while for things to really evolve and take off. So I know that a lot of detractors, I don't think any of this is perfect. I do have my reservations with certain aspects of the metaverse, but overall, man, it's early. Let's see how some of the stuff plays out. But there's incredible potential, I think, in the future for what we see here.
Absolutely. I mean, if anything, as we know from history and technology, this will spawn into something else. You know what I mean? Like, pagers turned into cell phones, right? Like, they were crude devices, but they served a bridging purpose from dial-up phones. You know what I mean? So like, this is sort of like we're sort of in the like telegraph phase of the metaverse, right?
So true.
And it goes to showcase the thing also is like if you're going to get into this and you're interested in it, and it gets interesting really quick, like I promise you, but you have to do a ton of research and just get educated, because it is crazy. It's Wild West-ish. It's interesting. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like every day there are new stories within, a certain ecosystem, just crypto in general, that are quite fascinating. And I love it that I'll get text messages, phone calls, just conversations in general from people that are into more traditional, right, centralized finance, and they're asking more and more questions.
Yes.
So it's great. Even like what we alluded to before with the Super Bowl, it just opens up the opportunity to have some incredible conversations that you wouldn't have had before. And people are more amenable to just listening, where they wouldn't really listen before. Now their ears are a little bit more open to what you have to say. And
yes.
That's great. And that's all we can really ask for as we move ahead and we try to showcase and talk about all the, the potential that blockchain technology and Web 3.0 can bring. I mean, this is really the next iteration of the internet, right? So, and we're talking about, just to review maybe a little, like what the metaverse is. And if you're like, again, it's ethereal, it's kind of abstract, and it's not fully defined yet. And it's going to look, as it evolves again, and as things progress, it's going to change. And you said that before, and that's okay. But in the metaverse, you're not going to be just controlling a digital avatar, right? You're going to be fully immersing yourself in all the internet has to offer as the digital avatar that, you've kind of created. So instead of this flat worldwide web that people just surf through every day, the metaverse is going to have texture and dimension and color. So, and we also talked about people, to reiterate, people, can meet and watch shows and hang out and visit virtual museums and ride virtual parks and, go to websites all within the same metaverse. And that's really wild, man. It's like sci-fi-ish, like we said, Ready Player One, or, pick whatever, now.
Great movie too, by the way, if you guys haven't gone out and watched it.
Yeah. Spielberg, right? I mean, how many Spielberg movies are bad? I mean, he's a legend. And I saw he's coming out with, not to digress, but he's coming out with a Jurassic Park.
I saw that was such a cool commercial too. And so many of the original actors and actresses from the original. So
I didn't even know that guy was was it Grant? Is his name Grant? I didn't even know he's still around, but of course you got to take your kids, you got to watch it, reminisce, get nostalgic. And so that'll be interesting.
Pretty awesome. That's awesome.
Man, definitely.
So you talk about virtual land, you talk about Snoop Dogg, you talk about, like there's a lot of people getting into this, and full transparency, I don't have any virtual land in the metaverse because I'm still trying to understand. And one of the reasons I talked to Jim is like why, I get why to buy physical land, right? I understand real estate. I mean, rich dad, but why in the metaverse? Is this like, it almost feels like when, nobody had a stake of claim in land, and it's just like, if you could put a flag here and like whatever, it's yours.
Yeah, man.
It sort of feels like that, but just in the with ones and zeros, right? That's sort of what the vibe I get from it.
Absolutely, man. So there's, we're talking about, there's virtual reality, and then there's virtual realty, and that's what we're looking at. And I know I get asked this all the time, and people are like, what's the deal with the virtual real estate? And I know it may sound like an oxymoron, where there's a future where pixelated land is sold at values, rivaling Manhattan properties, and I would say, you know what, forget like in the future down the road, like this kind of stuff is really happening now. And, in 2000, I don't know, in 2021, and people may find this staggering, there was a combined total of just over 500 million that was spent on virtual plots of land. And I looked, and just alone in January, so we're in February now, but alone in January, it was roughly $85 million. And
Wow.
if this pace continues, man, sales are going to reach upwards of, $1 billion in 2022. And if I could just add this, I thought this was neat too. There was a recent Grayscale survey, right? Digital currency, company. And they pointed out that they said in the near future, they estimated that the turnover in the metaverse is going to be somewhere around like $1 trillion, they said. So, the way I look at it, when people go like, hey, why buy land in the metaverse? Can I flip that question and go, why wouldn't you buy some land in the right metaverse?
Right.
The name gets thrown around, Rob, but I don't like it. It
Me
gets
either.
slapped on
It's
everything, man. Every project I see, people go, this is a metaverse. We're building a metaverse. And I'm like, well, when did you start building your metaverse? And you hear like 3 months, 6 months. And I'm like, these kind of projects take years, whether it's something like the Sandbox or Decentraland. These kinds of things take a long time. But I firmly believe in a few years, and it could be within 5 years, I believe a lot of people are going to go, man, why didn't I buy land? And I almost say it's almost akin to people that were buying up like web domains, right?
Yes.
In the early 90s and, moving into the early 2000s, and people are buying these domains and they were really making a fortune on it.
Yes.
So this is like, just because in real life, at the end of the day, purchasing virtual land in areas where I think there's going to be a lot of virtual engagement, because that's from COVID, which we also mentioned last week, things that you can put your business in front of hundreds of millions of visitors in a metaverse. So assume you're like selling a product or a service that could be delivered anywhere in the world. That's kind of what I think the metaverse will ultimately offer people and businesses. It's going to connect consumers and people that are looking for a more engaging method to communicate with, if it's a company, really to communicate with their brand. And since it's the beginning, man, and you said it before, like the gold rush or, Manhattan or whatever, a few hundred years ago, I think there are a lot of fortunes to be made in virtual land and in metaverse plays today. So, even like Zuckerberg, and he's saying he thinks this is absolutely going to blow up, and he's talking about that too. So this is almost like Bitcoin in the early days, when it came out, or really just, we keep saying it, like the early days of the internet. And I think as more and more as people start congregating in the metaverse environment, and, really we're seeing this with a lot of games that are coming to the forefront, but a lot of other companies that we can get into, big names like Gucci. Gucci just got into the Sandbox, and we can pull up a map in a little bit to just kind of show people, why would these companies get in? If they're getting in because they see what's happening. They see what's on the horizon. They see that it's the gold rush, and they want to get there and put their stake to this before other companies do. And again, wisely so. I think it's a smart move. So, yeah, I mean, and you could also kind of say, man, you're looking at like Web 2.0, like in this capitalist environment. I believe that when consumers prefer a more engaging method to communicate with businesses, and major companies are just going to invest more in building the metaverse and less in continuing with a 2D smartphone. Right. Which is so cool that we have the whole world in the palm of our hands. But it may appear to be futuristic, like a futuristic world and universe that we're discussing. But I'm really convinced that we're not as far away as some people may think.
I'd agree with that. I mean, like I told you, like one of the projects I'm invested in, we're neighbors with SpaceX. I don't even know why SpaceX would want to be in the Sandbox, but they are. And I think it's just what you said. They just want to represent in every way, because it does help brands, because the metaverse is going to reach communities and demographics that traditional advertising traditional products or whatever might not. And it's going to give opportunities to people that would traditionally not have opportunity. I mean, to buy physical real estate is expensive, but to buy digital real estate, well, that sort of balances things out a little bit. So I feel like it's a balancing mechanism too, you know. I think it's really interesting.
It is. And I think people may have this question. So maybe you're listening and you're going, what the heck does this even look like?
How do I bet you I can read your mind. Why is it exploding right now? Like, I want to know why it's blowing, because it's getting really big really quickly. And I think I read your mind. I think you were going to go there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna I am. Let me just say this very briefly, and I promise we'll move on, because that's actually a really good question. I think that people should just know it's the land that you buy, the virtual land, is in the form of an NFT, which we started talking about 2 weeks ago. And since it exists on a blockchain, right, we can verify the authenticity of who bought it, when they bought it, and there's absolute transparency on that. So I think that's amazing, and people should realize that that's what it's going to come in the form of. You can see it on the blockchain. You can see what people have. And you know what? I should just even throw this in here too. I don't know if you know this. I think it was November, Republic Realm, a Metaverse real estate investor and like advisory firm, they completed the largest land acquisition. And because you just mentioned the sandbox again. Ready? The deal was valued at more than $4.2 million.
In virtual real estate, right?
Dude, virtual real estate, man. So then it kind of leads into what you just asked me. Yeah. So what has really led to the explosion? I mean, well, first, the Facebook name change. I mean, Zuckerberg and company changing the name to Meta. That was a huge catalyst.
Can we pause really quick right there? Because that I was trying to find a place to sort of bring this up. And it's not because we like endorse Facebook or Meta or Oculus or whatever, but I find it interesting because earlier you had mentioned that it takes look at projects 3-6 months, like eye roll. It takes time, right? Look at when, and I don't know it off the top of my head, you might look when Facebook bought Oculus. That's when Facebook started building their metaverse.
I think it was 8 years ago, I want to say, to the best of my
recollection. So they've been building this for 8 years. That's like what it takes to build some of these things out. So sorry, I didn't mean to detract, but I thought it was
that's like,
really,
I know
really
it's
cool.
Absolutely, it's relevant to the conversation. But again, that's what we do, man. We just have conversations. You can't script these. It's just great to have a dialogue and talk about it. So yeah, I would say that would be the first catalyst for me. Well, not the only one, but one of them. And that's recent. And most people know that. They saw that in the news. And so a move that is decoupling their corporate identity from their social network is massive. So Facebook doing that and changing the name and everybody kind of seeing where it's going, it makes a lot of sense. And, it's garnered just a lot of attention. I would also say another reason for the explosion, you'd have to just like real, tangible real estate, right? You mentioned this before, and this is perfect with the whole premise and the, the theme of what Rich Dad, Poor Dad is all about is this land, this virtual land, the supply is limited. So I think there's scarcity. Isn't that in the real world too? Like if I'm in a big city, if I'm in Manhattan, there's a finite amount of land that's there. And of course you're in the Big Apple. And I'm using that as an example because I don't live that far away from New York City itself, but pick any city you want, right? And if something is limited and there's scarcity there. So using an example, a metaverse, my favorite is the sandbox. So there is a finite supply. So there's 166 plus thousand. I think there's to be exact, it's 166, maybe 400 and something lots that are available. So, undoubtedly the immutability, right, of not changing and the scarcity that's provided, again, we have to make sure people know this, by the NFTs that the land come in, right? And the blockchain technology that is contributing really to the appreciation of this virtual real estate. So that's, that to me, that's a huge reason why we're seeing an explosion in these land prices. And
so if I can summarize that really quick, are you saying just that Currently, just because you had talked about NFT was the most used word, right? In the world.
Collins Dictionary.
Yeah.
Right.
So like circling back to that, is it because of things like that in crypto and blockchain also being like half the discussions I have with my friends are about cryptocurrency, blockchain, whatever it might be. Is it just because the adoption rate is increasing so quickly? I mean, you've got the crypto bull, you've got big old financial institutions getting involved. I guess the question I'm trying to ask you is if you're going to get into this as a new investor, right, with all this new influx of interest, like how do you evaluate and how do you get into this like properly? Because I'm legitimately curious.
No, that's a good question, and it really it's a confluence of a lot of things. So again, it's these companies that are looking at it, and they're seeing the potential, whether it's Nike, Adidas, and teaming up with different projects, NFT projects, going into these metaverses and buying property. I mean, that's huge, but it's kind of, would you want me to get into like what an investor should evaluate before buying? Would that be something you want me to kind of lead into?
That might be like a little bit, if we could keep it like really high level, right? Because like it's really easy to get in the weeds with evaluation of anything in crypto.
No, man, I totally get it.
Like what are the top three things, like off the top of your head, you would look at a new project or a project that exists that you're thinking about? Like, what are the top three things you probably look at?
So I would look at, like, if I'm looking at a metaverse play like the Sandbox, and can I just share my screen? Would that be cool?
Yeah, let me make sure that is kosher. You're good to go.
All right, I'm good to go. So let me just show people. Let me share my screen here. And if I show you, all right, this. And so people, you can see this now. Can you see this? This is the Sandbox.
Yes.
All right. So you can see this. This is really wild. So I just want people to see, this is, part of the map here. And you see Snoop Dogg right here in the mansion that he has. So first, like, one of the reasons you want to see who are the people that have, this is one of my good friends, by the way. I mean, the guy's got, it's unbelievable how much land he has. Makes me look poor. But you look at all the companies and Steve Aoki and the Bored Ape Yacht Club, all these massive names.
Atari.
Just
multiple
here.
Atari.
So look at this. So when I go down, look, so I click on Gucci, right? And then it's going to bring me and show me so there's Gucci that just entered the Sandbox. And I could do this with all these. So I go down, look at this, Rob, look at this. Snoop Dogg, right? Look at all this. The
Walking Dead.
Summer Jam, Euphoria, the Smurfs, Care Bears, Binance, Atari. So the list goes on and on. So for me, I would look at something like that, and maybe I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll stop the share. But you look at something. You look at something like that, and you go, "Wow! All these companies have really jumped into the metaverse narrative that's there." So I want to look at which of these metaverses have attracted a lot of attention from these companies, and they're looking to get in. Now, it may be, hey, by the way, I should tell people, you know what, like the floor price and the floor price meeting, what is the cheapest piece of land that you could buy in, say, the Sandbox? It is roughly like 3.8, 3.9 ETH, which comes out to over $11,000 for the cheapest piece of land right now in the Sandbox. And it's I'm of the opinion that land is just going to continue to appreciate. Again, of course, location too. When you're going to be buying land, people go, I don't know. It's just like physical real estate. You have to pick the right location, right? I mean, we talk about Rich Dad. That's something that we believe in. You want to buy a location that the value is going to appreciate in the future. It is no different in the virtual world.
Nope.
So for us, you want to pick, like, there are just certain metrics. So, and also I want to pick something where the possible traffic. So something that a big name has entered the space, but where will there be a lot of traffic? Maybe on a virtual street, a place where maybe social media announcements of projects that can be developed in these virtual worlds, anything that can generate some income. So it's kind of cool. Even like Decentraland, I didn't pull that one up. I used the Sandbox, but like something like they have Fashion Street in their metaverse. And what if that's going to be, intended for holding fashion shows with luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Burberry?
Yeah.
So I mean, the possibilities are really endless.
Now you've got my curiosity churning, really.
Sorry.
So
go ahead.
I always do this, dude. I'm sorry, but
no, man, don't be sorry.
It's the way my brain works.
Yeah.
So you buy a plot of land in the sandbox. Let's use that example. Like, does it have a utility? Like, or is it just you have this little green, like 5x5 pixel on this map, maybe next to Atari or maybe next to Gucci or whatever? But like, how do you earn passive income? Or Rich Dad loves passive income. I have to ask, how do we get this to work for us?
Yeah, that's like, I think, and that's like one of the biggest questions. And we could spend, a lot of time talking about that. But to me, the allure of looking at the virtual land, to me, that's at the top of the list, because you want to have the cash flow, you want passive income any way you can get it. So I think the possibilities are really endless with this. And just for one, landowners, and every metaverse will be different, right? So there's stipulations on what you can do and building on the land. So I'm making a sweeping generalization, but on a lot of them, landowners are going to have the opportunity to rent out their land to others, just as to game designers, artists, or development studios who maybe haven't been able, they didn't buy the virtual land, or they missed their chance and they want to get in on the action. So there are a lot of people, and that's like even somebody like me. So I have land in the sandbox. What's to say that one of these companies one day, they want to build something really epic in the sandbox, and they're like, they come to me and they're like, hey man, I'll offer you 25 ETH for your property, or 50 ETH, whatever it is. That's the kind of stuff. Like, I look at some of this stuff and people can laugh, man. I look at some of this stuff as like retirement in the right metaverses.
Yeah.
These are things that I'm going to hold on to, man. And I put them in cold storage, and that just means that, forget, I'm not going to get into all
let's
that.
not get into cold storage.
No.
You guys can Google it. Cold storage is a whole new topic. Yes.
But land in virtual blockchain worlds is a scarce asset, and particularly lands in strategic locations, which we're saying. And I think, man, once all the land is sold in a lot of these locations, the demand for renting land, making passive income, is only going to get higher and higher, especially in a place like Sandbox, Decentraland, Axie Infinity, and some of these other, places that people have looked to. And there have been incredible sales. But by renting out your virtual land, you're giving people opportunities, Rob, that I love, that they can conduct businesses in the virtual world. Yes. And you're going to be receiving monthly rent as an income in return. So I love that, man. You could choose to rent out your land as a blank space, so your tenants can develop their own business on your plot. Alternatively, you can build whatever you want on your land, be it an empty building, an art gallery, a restaurant, a hotel, so that specific types of businesses can even rent your space, man. That's why I'm super psyched about this.
That's really cool, because what you're talking about is, this is where you and I always talk about the convergence of our sort of, I'm not going to say I'm a master at DeFi, but DeFi is the thing that I love, right? And like DeFi, that's why I ask you about cash flow all the time, because like, I think DeFi and all of these are going to mash up, and they'll have to coexist. And that's what I love about all of this. That's why I love talking to you, because you're like, our industries, essentially, our topics are running head on into each other and supporting each other. And I love that.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, that was it.
Oh, I was just going to say that these things they're really, for all intents and purposes, they're going to like coalesce together. They're absolutely all going to come together, and you're going to see, incredible things, I think, blossom, and as this really flourishes. But I'm excited, man, that you can start your own like virtual business on your own virtual land and sell digital goods. How cool. And a lot of people go, wow, I didn't realize that you're going to be able. And in some of these places now, you can start in these games, especially, these options are available, and they're becoming more available, ample opportunity to make some income on those things. You want to set up an office for your company or a shop. You want to hire employees and run a very profitable business. And that's why I think, and I must say this, I think that's why Rich Dad is at the forefront of this, and they're on the precipice or the cutting edge to be able to see this and not be limited or myopic in their view, but to look at it and see, wow, I guess this really is the future, and to be open to it. And even like Snoop Dogg, man, we brought him up before. How about hosting events and parties,
Yes.
on your land and charging real money for entry into that event, virtual concerts, Rob, man,
Yes.
theme parties. I think those things are going to become more and more popular in the future. And you can use the opportunity once again to earn that passive income by creating a venue for whatever the events are that you want. You hold the events yourself, you rent out the space to host the events for a fee, man.
That's
kind of cool.
You know what? That's amazing, because you're sort of blowing my mind with this, because it's sort of like it's not the replacement of life. It's not it's somewhat of an evolution, but I think it's more of a fork of life, not to use but right. It's taking life and forking it. Like the thing that I love, and I love that you brought up Rich Dad, because we have sort of started to look into, the reason you and I are doing the, Cryptoverse, and we have our own, by the way, there'll be a link in the description. I hate the shill stuff, but like our product is really, really, really good for teaching you like the basics, getting into this. Our friend Jeff is exceptional at everything he does. So I'd feel remiss to not bring that up. I'm really glad you brought that up, because Rich Dad does say, look for opportunities everywhere, right? It's sort of like our mantra is to, your view should look at everything as somewhat of an opportunity, and this is just another opportunity we're trying to shed a little bit of light on.
Absolutely, man. 100%. And it's great. And I think people are getting educated in the process. We're not shilling anything. Like as we come to, and soon, like as we come to talking about projects that we really like, we want to bring attention to certain things that we think are valuable, and maybe we're never giving financial advice, but things that you should look into and spend some time researching. But it's fun to educate the audience as to what we see, in what this, means for the future, and what this holds. Yeah. So we'd be remiss if we didn't, man. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
100%.
That's the great thing about Rich Dad.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I love what we do. I love what we do.
Hey, you could even sell ad space. You could sell ad space too.
Oh my goodness.
Stuff like that, man. And I know that's like something that's, part of the program, and,
well, you know what? I have to ask, well, we're getting a little long in the tooth on this. Like, I have another question. It is Rich Dad centric, right? Because we are about asset creation or asset consumption. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But one thing that's super important to us is protecting them, right? Like we talk about traditional world LLCs and all this. In the virtual world, is that sort of same too? Is there a way to protect your virtual property? Do you have to worry about that? I don't even know if it's a thing. That's seriously.
No, yeah, absolutely. And you do. And I think you see a lot in the news, like, again, as we're kind of in the Wild West, you hear about all these hacks and people that get their wallets drained, at the end of the day. And there are ways to prevent that. And that's, part of the education. Like we're not going to get into that right now, but hopefully in the future, that would be kind of cool for me to even share my screen, and like we could talk people through setting up a wallet that would be in essence holding these assets. And I always tell people, you have to lock down your crypto. You can't be careful enough, because there's a lot of scammers out there, man. And people see the opportunity, and it's, millions and millions of dollars is lost every, this past year in 2021. And it's only going to increase in 2022 as these people see an opportunity here. And as things are new in this nascent space, as it continues to grow. But so how do you protect your virtual property? We're using, again, NFTs. So the best way, to verify that a property belongs to you is like with a deed, right? Usually in the form of like, physical paper, right? That's what we do in the, with real estate, physical real estate. Well, imagine just again, that you can transfer a property from one person to another entirely safely and do it all online on the blockchain. So that's in essence why I think it's kind of cool. And you get a lot of these, the middlemen, you kind of remove them from the equation. So NFTs are really, in a highly simplified way, digital certificates that can guarantee that you own something and that's your property. And, it shows when you bought it. So they're one of a kind.
Yeah.
And I think because of this too, NFTs have the potential to become an avenue to keep our real estate data reliable and safe while allowing us to transfer digital assets anywhere in the world really safely. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, you can, but there's a lot to that. That is a very simple answer because we could go into great detail on that. And this isn't, probably the time.
Yeah. Like in my brain right now, I'm going, should we talk about smart contracts? Should we talk about why this worked? No, I don't think it's a right topic, but if you want, look up smart contracts, and it is sort of the basis on a lot of this stuff. And
we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We kind of talked about it, but you're right. It's something to keep coming back to from time to time because I get it. It's a whole new vernacular.
Yes.
The whole nomenclature, the language that we're using is foreign to some people. And I get it when people talk and there's, things are lost in translation. Like, I don't know what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So and that's why it's important. And again, going back to what Rich Dad does so well in having these educational classes even. And I'm excited that in the future, there'll be educational, classes, opportunities for people to actually sit in a digital environment, a virtual environment and learn, to get on and learn from experts, people that really know what they're doing and can really help people get assimilated into the whole crypto space. So I love that.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. So, all right. I am exhausted with Metaverse because, as usual, this like floods my brain with a billion questions and ideas. Sure. And I don't want to bore the people that are stuck listening to us. But all right, let's do what we're gonna do. I'd love to just pick your brain and see what you've been looking at this week. Like what's your thing right now?
Yeah, so that's cool. I'm glad you asked. So the top of the list for me, there's an NFT project first. I'm going to hit a game. I'm going to give you a game, but I'm going to hit you with an NFT. I'm going to bookend it. NFT, game, NFT. And the first one is called the Mutant Shiba Club. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with, Shiba Inu and how big that was. All the meme coins, right? Dogecoin and SHIB. Everyone's talking about SHIB. Well, this is an NFT collection that was inspired by the famous meme coin, token, the Shiba Inu. And, actually it's so interesting that the founders, these actually are guys that were from Hape. So I'm only throwing that out there. Some people go, I don't even know what Hape is. It's another big NFT project that's out right now. So anybody, I just wanted to throw that in there in case there are people that really know the NFT space. These guys like met while hanging out in channels, across that server. And again, we always tell you community is the most important aspect of any of these things. You have to get in Discord servers.
Yes.
You have to get to know people. And that's the way you learn and you make friends, and it's cool to have friends from all over the world.
And it builds trust, by the way,
it builds trust, man. Yes. 100%. So the benefits of, they have this pack membership that transcends really into both virtual and real life collaborations, merchandise, social events, commercial rights, and more. So I think it's a pretty solid project. And they also have this antidote serum that they talk about on the website. And, you can convert Shiba to something to give somebody, you get another NFT from it. So it just looks really interesting. If I could, I'll share my screen quick and just show you the Twitter page here.
Yes, sir.
Go back to that.
That's funny because the one NFT project that my reveal didn't work with last week. I still want to show everybody one of my guys, but like the mechanically they sound very similar.
Yeah. So here it is. And you got to look at this. And can I throw this in here as a bit of education too for people? I think it's super important that, first of all, there's 145,000 followers on Twitter, which is massive. So the project is kind of just blown up. And what's really cool is you can see who follows it. So I'm always looking to see, like, this guy is Giancarlo. He's a big name. So I'm looking. Here's another one, Antonym. I love Antonym. So that project, we talked about that 2 weeks ago, the House of Phygital. So that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. And I just, man, they have like 150,000 followers too. But I think this project's going to do really well. This is an Ethereum-based project. And I'm bringing that up because the last project I have is not. It's on a different blockchain. And I'm doing that on purpose because I want to bring some attention maybe to other blockchains where you're not going to pay the exorbitant amount of money to mint an NFT. right? To get that NFT, that it becomes yours on the blockchain, you know it, and you can verify that as it's transferred to you. So that's one. If I could go to now number two, this is Meta Nanos. All right, and now Meta Nanos is another really cool project that I'll go back to the website in a second. I think this is this is a game now. So the founders, they had a startup before Meta Nanos, and it was called Hero Coin. They had more than I think 250,000 users. They sold to a company called GreenTube. The team, now get this, ready, Rob? You're into games, ready?
I love games.
The team has worked for League of Legends, Call of Duty, Halo, and The Mandalorian.
I love it.
So, I mean, dude, they also have a close relationship to one of the biggest gaming companies in Europe. They have Andreas Peterson, who's the founder of Bitcoin Austria.
Yep.
He started to develop stuff on the blockchain, I think maybe 2012-ish. So he was super early to the party. They have a long-term vision, and they're actually having their Alpha Pass NFT drop. And I'll share my screen again and just show you, because
before you go any further, what's an Alpha Pass?
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull that up in one. Let me pull that up, because I know people are going, "What the heck is this guy talking about?" Yeah, Alpha Pass. So here, an Alpha Pass. So you can see this here. You can see the website. So they have 3 different kinds. So you get a free Meta Nano NFT, and it depends on the level. So they have silver, gold, and then they have these crystal, which there aren't going to be many of those. But you know what would be kind of cool? I actually have a sneak peek at a little bit of some gameplay here. How about this? If I can pull this up, if you give me a second. They said it was cool that I show this to the audience. Are you cool if I show this for 25 seconds?
Is this a sneak peek or something?
This is a sneak peek, man.
Man, I want to see it.
All right, so you can see on my screen though, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm going to play this. Check this out. Yeah, man, dude, I get goosebumps when I listen to something like that. I see that, dude, super slick. I love what they have going on. I think it's going to be an awesome project game. These guys are in here for the long term. I know the roadmap. I see the vision of what they have going on, and I'm going, you know what? These guys are going to be around for a long time. This isn't like a pump and dump. They have a long history. So that's a game that I wanted to bring to the attention of people. And then finally, I told you I was going to bookend, go NFT, then game. And then here, if I go back to my screen and I share this. All right, so let's go back to this. How about this? Ready? I'm going to take you. You ready for this, Rob?
Yep.
We're going not into the metaverse. We are going to go into the Petaverse. Adopt, raise, earn. So this is a really cool project. And, I've talked to the team for a while now. 300. Do you have any dogs? I'm a big dog lover. I have 2
schnauzers. Yep.
Oh, so I'm a huge dog lover. So like you, I guess, since you have 2 dogs.
Oh yeah.
But you look at this project, and what's kind of cool too. I could take you through the roadmap, but I'm not going to bore you with that. Another thing that's really important. Look at who the investors and the partners are. So they're dropping their NFTs coming up, but this is a game. So I'm combining. I'm saying NFT, that I'm bookending it, but this is a game too. This is going to be wild. I'm really excited about it. Look at this. Ubisoft, really, huge. First rate. Tezos, this is another blockchain. So the Tezos blockchain, in talking to the team, they're looking to be more environmentally sensitive. With carbon footprint, and that's why they went this way instead of going with Ethereum. But look at the other backers, all right? Animoca, and I'm excited in the future. If you know anything about gaming, that we've been in contact with Animoca about having 1 or 2 executives on to talk about Web 3.0, blockchain gaming in general. They are the gold standard. When you see Animoca is partnering or investing in a project, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to do pretty well. It should. It's not foolproof, but usually the projects do well. Look, Sandbox, we already talked about that. So right there, the team, their docs, it just looks super slick. I'm super excited about it. The token that they have going on here. So you do not want to sleep on Dogami. I think, this Petaverse play is going to be really cool. So those are my three, brother. So it's up to you now. You share what you want.
So the only thing that I want to share is because, and it's just, again, a good learning lesson. Some of these projects have these really neat mechanisms like reveals and just like all sorts of things, and they rarely go right. So like last week, we were going to reveal my Alpha Kong. Well, I have 4 of them, but I'm going to show you guys my coolest.
Wait, did you have 4? Did you have 4 last week? Was it 4 last week?
I had 4. Yeah. I sort of like, lack of better term, I aped in on it. So, but I loved it. Just like, truth be told,
you have a family. I have a whole family, bro.
Yes, I do. And I love gorillas. My business is named after silverbacks. So like, I've always loved gorillas. This has real world, like they give back to a foundation that helps mountain gorillas, which are close to extinct, if everybody doesn't know. Just a cool project. And this is like, you were mentioning serums for the mutants, right?
Yeah, like the Bored Apes, everybody's
yes. These guys have a serum too, right? The blue banana serum. It comes out in 2 months, and we get these Alpha Kongs. I need to show you the artwork. And by the way, the people that worked on this are people that have worked on like The Mandalorian, Lord of the Rings, like all the Star Wars series, like pretty huge projects.
Wow.
Look at how awesome that detail is.
Dude, I don't think I like the detail in this. I don't know if people realize how long it takes and how hard it is to do this.
Yes.
This is really, that's really special. It's super slick, absolutely dope, complete fire.
Yes.
Right there.
8,888 of them will ever exist. Wow. And going back to your gaming, they're working on a play to earn game where you can stake these and earn passive income. It's another reason I looked at the roadmap and I'm like, passive income play, I'm in.
Yeah, man.
So love the art, love the project, love what's behind it. It takes a lot of research, do a lot of work, and just have fun. Engage in communities. Community is what it's about. Once you get comfortable, you'll get trusting, and it's cool. They all become like family. So that's what I want to end on.
Absolutely. Good stuff, man. Hey, it's a great conversation. I always love our talks.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. All right, man. I'll see you next week.
Well. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.